Hello and welcome to this week's Top 25 Power Rankings, where I go over the top 25 teams in the LOL Esports space. I watch nearly all, if not all, of the four major regions games, regular split, and now the playoffs. If I miss them at the time, I get back to them and watch them because I want a very, very good idea of what the four major region teams have to offer. So when I do this top 25, if you haven't watched the videos before, I use opinion for those teams, how I feel about them at the moment. When it comes to minor region teams, all I've really watched is what I did in a video yesterday and one other video earlier on in the split, specifically about CB LOL. So, most of this is going to be stats oriented for those teams. I will incorporate some of my opinions from yesterday when I go over a couple of these teams that I may have watched, but keep in mind I did not use that as a means to figure out like where I was going to put these teams necessarily. Well, kind of, but not really. We also have to keep in mind that a lot of these teams have not played. There are only 54 teams left that are eligible for Worlds, so 30 more are going home. The goal is that by the end of this, in a couple weeks, this will be the top 24 because that'll be all that's left. And then that'll be, how I power rank the teams going into Worlds, I guess will be, my opinion in that video. Because I think next week, Monday through Wednesday, I am going to watch more minor region games when nothing's going on in the major regions and continue to try and get a grasp for what those teams have to offer. So that's the deal with this. 25th, I have Misfits. No. Do I have Misfits? No, I don't. What do I have going on here? I have Fnatic. 25th. So, Algorithm has Misfits 25th. But actually, technically, the algorithm has Astral Esports 25th, but I don't have them 25th. So, Fnatic. The LEC hasn't played yet, so very briefly am I going to go over teams that haven't played. Fnatic, I feel like, have a lot of potential in this meta with Upset being their best player, my MVP from the LEC in summer. Put him on Zeri, Sivir, and let him carry. That is the best recipe for Fnatic's success. I think Fnatic are good for best of fives as well, and I think that that's going to be an advantage for them coming down the stretch here. And yeah, that's why I have them 25th. Like I said, I'm going to go briefly over the teams that didn't play at all because what's there to say about them, so. Because I did this right? Yeah, I screwed up. Okay, so Chief Esports Club are 24th. You're going to be like, why did they drop? Well, they dropped because so they've played a series in the playoffs. So now we're using stats. There's a mix of stats here. Some teams, like the LEC, for example, I'm using stats from the summer split because that's all I've got. There are teams that once the playoffs have started, I am using playoff stats. If they haven't played at all in the playoffs, I am kind of gauging where I had them during regular split, but it's a little difficult with the minor regions. Really makes a lot of things difficult. But in the case of Chief, they are on the regular split now. Playoffs now, and they 3-0'd. They did very well. On average, for example, winning their games by 9 kills each. Very solid performance. I believe that right now the algo, for what the algorithm has for them as a rating, would have been top 5 anyways, even at their peak, during the summer split. So Chief continue to do well. Arthur continues to do well in the jungle. I look forward to possibly watching them next week when they play Order or Pentanet Gaming, because they beat Order 3-0. Pentanet Gaming and Order now play in the loser bracket to play Chief in the finals. So that's a thing. Next, we have Flying Oyster. Not a lot really for me to say. Not a lot for me to really say about this team. They beat Frank Esports 3-1, and I think they play PSG now. So we'll see how that goes. Frank Esports was a team I had highly rated after best of ones in summer. They had some very big wins that boosted their stats. And Flying Oyster had always been on that, cusp of the top 10, but a big 3-1, maybe they're destined for best of fives. Maybe that's their strong suit. And because of that, they're statistically looking very good in the PCS, a region that looks like a complete disaster. If you haven't been to my Discord, the link is in the description. We talked yesterday, Meander and I, in the main channel about the PCS a bit, because he is, or they are, sorry, I shouldn't assume, they are somebody that has been commenting on my videos for a while, ever since MSI, about the PCS. So a lot of the insight I get has a lot to do with their, scouting of how these teams look. And right now, after PSG, it's kind of a mess. Speaking of that mess, we have Beyond Gaming 22nd. So if you haven't watched my videos, my minor region videos on Wednesdays, Flying Oyster and Beyond Gaming have seen moments in the top 10, but didn't stick there. Beyond Gaming beat J Team, which is a team that's been in the top 25 most of the split. If you've watched this video, this series, Beyond Gaming won. They beat J Team, and then they just 3-0 Deep Cross Gaming. Deep Cross Gaming, their mid laner, I believe, Meander had said that they were in the hospital, possibly. I'm just going off of what was said. But Nesty did end up playing in this series, and they were 3-0'd. So, excuse me. Now they're in the loser bracket as well. And we'll see how that goes for those teams down there. Like I said, it's a battle for second. Who ends up playing PSG pretty much is how I'm looking at it. 21st, DFM. DFM, I believe, are the best team in Japan. Now, I watched one game of them versus Sengoku Gaming from a couple weeks ago. And Sengoku Gaming won this one, and they were the only team to beat DFM this summer, and they beat them both times. It was a game where Sengoku Gaming went after them early, and it makes a lot of sense. They ended up emphasizing getting the bot lane ahead. Jungler was all over the place. Getting Drakes, they went to soul point at 17, 18 minutes. A very early soul, but it makes a lot of sense. Detonation Focus Me are a team that waits and scales for the late game and uses their superior team fighting abilities to win. That's just how they are. Their laning numbers are fantastic, and that's because they're not all over the place. They're not making a lot of things happen. They fight until the end. They fight until the end, but they fight at the end as well. What is weird about the LJL's playoffs is that 6 of the 8 teams make it, and the way their bracket goes, in round 2, both Detonation Focus Me and Sengoku Gaming play. Like, they both got a bye. The first 3 seeds actually got a bye. And those two are playing each other in the upper part of the bracket in round 2. It makes no sense to me, but it is something that I'm going to probably watch in the early stages of next week after it occurs, just looking back at it to see who won, because that may be just another preview for the finals, because loser goes to loser bracket. And the way the LJL looked this summer, stats-wise, as I updated the stats, those 2 teams were clearly head and shoulders above everybody else. But it is going to be a good series to get an idea of what DFM really have to offer. If it's something that you want to watch, I don't blame you for watching it. I know not a lot of people may love the LJL, but it is something. 20th, PSG. PSG haven't played yet. Like I said, I believe they play Flying Oyster, possibly tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. PSG, obviously, I watched a game of theirs where they actually lost to Deep Cross Gaming. However, in that game, I gained a lot of... I was able to get an idea of maybe the type of player Bury is. Bury, their jungler, who was not with them during spring at MSI, it was Juhan. Juhan now the backup on DRX and the LCK behind Pioshik. Bury was very active on a Poppy, making a lot of things happen. PSG, obviously, a very good top laner in Hanabi. This meta not fitting him all that well. Gory, if you missed my minor region wrap-up video from Monday, Gory, or Tuesday, I don't remember which day I uploaded it. Gory was the top-rated mid laner statistically in all the minor regions. Very dominant in the mid lane for PSG, the former LCK and LPL mid laner. So PSG have a lot to offer right now, and they are a threat at Worlds. I do believe that. I believe that they can get wins at in group stage. And if for some reason the PCS and they get knocked down to play-ins, they are definitely capable of beating the LEC 4 seed and the LEC 3rd seed, honestly. And the LCS 3rd seed for sure. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. LCK 4 seed it might be, we'll get to that. That is still on this board here, but it'll be certainly something to watch. Another team that hasn't played yet, 100 Thieves. Now, I'm not marking where these teams were last week and where they're moving to, because a lot of these, like I said, some of these teams haven't played, so it's really hard to get an idea. We'll see how they do this week. I don't even know if 100 Thieves play this week or not. I haven't looked at the future of the brat. I mean, I imagine they do, because today we have our first game of the LCS playoffs for the week. So I imagine they're playing all 4 days here coming up, and that would mean that 100 Thieves are probably playing. But as of right now, 100 Thieves are a solid team, but I feel like they are limited. And now with kind of getting an idea of what these minor region teams might have to offer here, 100 Thieves, I think, need to get a 1 or 2 seed. If they get a 3 seed, I really, really don't know if that team gets out of play-ins. I really don't think so. I really don't. I don't think they have the ability to do it. But we get to that when we get to that, if they go to Worlds or not. 18th, we have Rogue. Similar to 100 Thieves, I believe Rogue are a little limited as well. I believe they are better than 100 Thieves in the way that Odo can definitely play weak side. Malrung is a facilitator. Larson has been carrying hard for them in the mid lane. I had him as my all-pro mid laner in the LEC, which ruffled some feathers, but statistically he was very strong because that's the way the team played. They play around him more often than not. Comp down the stretch playing very well. Trimby, solid in his own right, but I don't know, I feel like they're going to be a play-ins team. I really do. I think that they're definitely, at best, the 3rd seed in the LEC right now. So it's kind of the vibe I'm getting, but they haven't played yet. They play tomorrow against Mad Lions. That will be in the roundup later today. If you haven't noticed, we're doing the power rankings first, roundup later because TSM FlyQuest play later. There are more reasons to that. I think that I have to start working this channel over into a different upload schedule, given that Worlds will be in North America. Just testing some things out and to see how things go. My demographics lean North American anyways, but I do want to see, experiment a bit with the channel for, what we might do during Worlds. 17th, Saigon Buffalo. And then 16th are GAM Esports. So, I had to do some inferring here. Both teams from Vietnam. Now, this I watched yesterday the complete series between Saigon Buffalo and Team Secret. I'm 100% transparent about that. I watched them. They absolutely crushed Team Secret. Saigon Buffalo played very good at MSI. Surprisingly well to me. Honestly, right now, Vietnam, I would not be surprised if they overtook the PCS as the 5th best region at Worlds. I really wouldn't be surprised. Now, algorithmically, the way they dominated Team Secret was to the point where, honestly, they would have ranked as the top minor region team all split long. They would have ranked higher than Chief. One series, very extremely small sample size. We have to take that into consideration, right? But statistically, I have to put them pretty high. So we have to do some inferring then too, right? Because statistically, they're very high, but where do they actually go? I believe Saigon Buffalo are 100% capable of knocking out Rogue, 100 Thieves, maybe not Fnatic. Fnatic would be trouble because Saigon Buffalo's strongest part is their bot lane. Shogun and Taki are disgusting. They are disgusting. They are just, in a good way, this is a good way, in case translation, I really think they are very good. VCS has a lot to offer in terms of random picks, a lot of pizzazz. Now, why are GAM 16th? Well, GAM outranked Saigon Buffalo during summer, so I have nothing on them for playoffs, so they are one spot ahead of Saigon Buffalo. We'll see how they play against SBTC Esports, I think, which should be an easy win because SBTC Esports were clearly the fourth best team by quite a bit in the VCS. And we'll see how that goes, going down the stretch here. Next, we have, I think that's all my minor region teams, too. Next, we have, not this, TL. TL made very quick work of FlyQuest. It was not even close. That is something to note. Definitely did not struggle at all. That's pretty much it. Like, they really took care of business. And I expect them to continue to take care of business and go to Worlds as a result. The team, on paper, very good in each role, respectable in each role. Is there a high ceiling with this team? No. We know what this team is, which is why they are where they are. I don't know if they can be any better than what they are. They could go 0-6 at Worlds, honest to God. They really could because of what they are. Just very, very predictable. Good players in each role. Great players in their primes. In the case of Bwipo, Cord JJ, Bjerg. But I don't believe that TL really have that upper gear to take to the next level as of right now. But in terms of the LCS, they crushed FlyQuest and they should have. And because they did that statistically, they are pretty damn solid. Actually, stats-wise, obviously, they're above actually a couple LPL teams and LCK teams due to Gauntlet. Those teams actually algorithmically are grading out negatively in the playoffs because they lost. But, well, in the manner in which they lost, they grade out negatively. You can lose and still grade out positively. But, you got to infer then. You got to say, well, just because this team lost, I'm still taking the LPL 3 seed over, Team Liquid or, Fnatic. Like, of course you're going to do that, So, 15th for TL. That's why I always say I don't use the algorithm for these major region teams, really, because, it's region, you got to respect the region. Now, 14th, Mad Lions. Mad Lions haven't played yet. People are going to say, well, Mad Lions haven't played yet. Neither has KT since you dropped them. Why is it the way it is? Well, I gave it some more thought. I'm going to be honest. I gave it some more thought. The LEC are a team, or not a team, are a region of inconsistencies. 100% inconsistencies. And Mad Lions, like TL, and the next team on the list, actually, next team on the list, all are, Mad's more like the next team on the list than TL, I guess. Well, we're going to just do the next team on the list. We're going to talk about these two at the same time. So, these two teams are pretty similar in my opinion. Carry junglers that can do anything. Their best players are in the jungle. Very young AD carries. I will say I like Mad Lions Kaiser over Vulcan. I like JoJo over Niski in just laning. Niski can offer more, but JoJo offers a higher ceiling. His age, he could just get better throughout the tournament. I'm not saying he's going to be Faker. I'm just saying he could get better and go from like a, coming in at a 7 and end out at an 8 out of 10 mid laner because he's playing against the best players he's ever played against in his life, right? Where Niski is at a point in his career where really he is where he is, which is very TL-like. Armut can do a little bit of everything, but not all that great. Impact, I feel, is better at doing that than Armit. So, EG, better than Mad Lions. Neither team have played yet. We'll see how they do in their playoffs. Mad Lions, like I said, playing Rogue tomorrow in a big series. That'll be a big one to watch. They split games during the regular split, I believe. I don't know if Rogue beat them the second time. Rogue beat them the first time, so it'll be definitely something to watch. In the end, Western teams are not winning worlds. People call me a hater for saying that, but I'm just not delusional. So, got to keep that in mind when I'm doing this too, like top 25 teams. Well, it's the top 25 teams, and also, like, I've said all along, like, this was, like, who I could see winning worlds. That list gets smaller and smaller as we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, but, yeah. We'll do these two teams at the same time as well. KT Sandbox. So, I dropped KT a lot for losing to Dom 1. I was really pissed for their decision. But how do I feel about them right now as they go into Gauntlet with Dom 1 and DRX? Well, I think KT should be able to take care of DRX pretty easily. I don't think that should be very difficult for them at all. I think it should be pretty damn easy. If KT loses to DRX, I mean, well, you never deserve to be in the top 25 then. DRX, I don't have up here for a reason. I do not think DRX are any good. But KT, your bot lane is disgusting. However, that bot lane really struggled against Damwon, which was very concerning because Damwon's bot lane is not, in my opinion, better than KT's over the entire split, but KT didn't show up when it was time to show up. Rascal did not carry in top lane when he needed to carry. Now, with Sandbox, it's the Prince and Cal show. It really is. Against gen.g, Sandbox cannot win because the gen.g bot lane is better. It's just straight up better. And Sandbox are going to get better over the years here. So, over the next few splits, we have to respect the fact that Sandbox can get better where gen.g are what they are, which is extremely good, right? We're not. I mean, if anything, they're in their prime, and if anything, you see a decline before you see any sort of, incline out of gen.g going forward, I'd imagine. Now, this is about Sandbox, though. So Sandbox, it's all about Prince, which is very limiting for them. I don't see them winning Worlds because of this. I see them struggling at Worlds if they are in the wrong group. A group with good bot lanes in it could be very troublesome for them. So that's a thing. That is a thing where, another team could take advantage of them in the jungle, in top lane, and in mid lane. Maybe their solo laners are better than Sandboxes. I could see Sandbox losing. I really could. So that's why Sandbox is where they are. Lost to gen.g, and it wasn't all that close. Excuse me. 10th place, Victory 5. Victory 5 don't know what they want to do. Their coach is losing them games by going between Zhao Lao Bao and Karsa, and due to this reason, they're 10th. They're the worst team in the LPL. Worst team in the LPL that is left. I don't think they have a shot to get to Worlds. They play LNG, and some people say, oh, well, Victory 5 LNG. Well, it'll be close, but we have to keep in mind, I really think Victory 5 have a ton of problems. I really do. I think top is a massive issue, and I think jungle is a massive issue. Photic is limited when he doesn't get Senna. His Senna is disgusting. His Senna is the best in the world. But without that, Victory 5 are having problems, or coaches having problems. Team in general, very limited, and that's why they're 10th. I really don't have a lot of faith in Victory 5, and actually that's why I put G2 ahead of them. G2 haven't played yet, but they are going to Worlds no matter what, whether it's play-in or, Worlds group stage, depending on how the playoffs go, right? But G2 offer more than Victory 5 do. They really do. BB can carry, Caps can carry, bot lane can carry, Yankos can carry. They can do a little bit of anything. Does that mean that mechanically they're better than Victory 5 in every spot? No. I would take Victory 5's bot lane over them. I would take Rookie possibly over Caps. So, that's a thing. But G2 don't have any glaring holes, which allows them to do well in international events, best of ones. They are capable of taking it to the next level and being competitive against anybody on this board, really. Are they going to beat everybody on the board? No, but can they actually play against them? Yes, which is more than I think you can say about Victory 5 and the top teams on this board. 8th place, RNG. Glaring issue is champion pool. Someone mentioned in the comment section of one of my videos. I looked into it a bit more, and honestly, it was astounding. So if you haven't noticed, RNG do not play Yuumi. You can leave Yuumi up against RNG. They're not going to pick it. Ming has not played Yuumi in 2 years. He's only played it 6 times competitively ever. And Yuumi is like broken. Like we all know, it is drool on your face. Like, I don't even have to really play the game. I could play the game without my hands and still win, sort of champion, right? Like, Yuumi is disgusting. But RNG don't play it, which limits RNG a ton. Gala really doesn't play Kalista. That's a limitation. Xiaohu, coming down the stretch, did very, very well, putting up a lot of kills. But for a lot of the split, really was not impactful. Breathe, very coin flippy. Wei hasn't done much of anything. RNG honestly have went from a team that was worlds contending to now definitely, like, I don't know if they make it. I don't, right? According to this, I wouldn't have them coming out of the LPL. Champion points and things like that, it's looking like it is a solid chance. And that tells me that, at least with this meta, I don't know how much it shifts going into Worlds. If there is a team right now that I think could be overtaken by a Western team or even a VCS, a minor region team at groups, it would be RNG, which is really crazy to think about, right? Because they won MSI, but they do not have this meta down at all, and apparently the meta is not supposed to change all that much for the rest of the way. 7th, LNG. LNG got completely steamrolled today. 3-1 though against EDG, but got steamrolled. The game they won actually was tied in kills 9-9 for some crazy ass reason. And the coach was playing Panda C, this split Panda C. Although Ale has been getting his butt absolutely handed to him against JDG, and today Panda C is worse than Ale. And now they're picking red side still. If you look statistically during the LPL playoffs, even during summer, it was like 60-40. Now it's 65-35. Blue side winning games. LNG should have been picked blue side when they had a chance. I understand they won the game where they picked red, but even just the process of deciding red is clearly wrong. LNG struggling. Ale against better top laners, the coach is not putting him on Ornn, Gragas, Sejuani. He's putting him on Gnar. He's putting him on things to try and compete with the opposition, and it is not working. He is not good enough. Duenby playing Renekton all the time. It reminds me of the Gragas, okay? At first he played Gragas, and yes, cool, you played Gragas. Oh, you pulled it out a second time. Well, I bet they didn't see that coming. But once you get to like the 4th and 5th time, the other team's like, oh, well, he picked this crap. We're ready for it now. And it's lost its luster, man. Hopefully during loser bracket, I do think they have a better grasp on this meta than both RNG and Victory 5. But hopefully going into losers bracket, they, take advantage of what they know about this meta and fix their issues. Because they're starting to run into some problems over there. 6th and 5th, we have T1 and Damwon. Went to 5 games, but T1 took their foot off the pedal for Game 3 and Game 4. Carrier even said it. They got complacent, which is a scary thing. And I do believe that is a problem with T1, and it hasn't been a problem all split long, where they get into a place where they're complacent, where they think they have the win in the bag, and they start inting games, putting them in a position where they could lose. And they went to Game 5 against Damwon, right? Duck Dom's playing a lot better. Damwon's playing a lot better. That was the glaring issue, was bot lane. Bot lane's coming together, figuring it out. However, I will say top lane is an absolute joke. The fact that they picked Birdall for a couple games, went to Nuguri, won a game, and went back to Birdall is just abysmal as a decision from the coaching staff. I do not understand it. I can't rant about it enough. I think I ranted about it last week when they were putting Birdall in the lineup to begin with. This is not the time to pull this crap. It is not. You are hurting your entire team and organization and your opportunity to win worlds doing this. It's just not, it does not make any sense to do this. So, at this time, if you had done it a month and a half ago and started doing it, it would be different. But by doing it now, you're splitting scrims when you're in the down the home stretch right now, most important games, and you're splitting scrims. Like, what the hell are you doing? Now, T1, the complacency is a problem, but now they are getting into form, though. Those first 2 games, they really took it to Damwon. They took it to Damwon in the 2 games down the split. They are showing that they are that world's contender we thought they were. Now, they play Gen.g this weekend. I expect it to go 5 games. We'll see how it goes. Even if T1 lose, I still think they're a world's contending team. I really do. The fact of the matter is they beat Gen.g in spring. Gen.g beats them in summer. Oh, well, that happened 6 months ago. Yeah, well, if we pick up some stat about your team that happened 6 months ago, I'm sure you're gonna hide it and, put it under the rug or whatever. So T1, world's contending team. I would say right now there is a line here for, like, instead of top 8 teams I could see winning worlds, right now it's 5. And there is another tier to come before this list is done. Hear that rhyme. Oh, I almost just went to the next line of that rhyme. I really have to stop. I really have to stop doing that. So, 4th, EDG. EDG took care of work against LNG, really did. Lost to top, though, so I can't put them above top. Actually, we're going to finish this. We're going to finish this because this is now self-explanatory. I'll talk about it once. So we're going to talk about this. So EDG and top. Top barely beat EDG. Game 5 pulled out a Senna and it worked when it's off meta. Flandre looked really good today against Ale. Did a lot of work in Game 4. I will say the first 3 games, not all that impactful. That is concerning. But against top, Wayward is kind of whatever right now. So I think EDG and top are really close. Mid lane, Knight took advantage of Scout in the later portions of when they played, but Viper had been the strong suit of EDG, and in Game 5, push came to shove and top won. I don't think Tian's playing all that well recently in the playoffs. I don't believe the gap is very big between those two, but we'll see how top fare when they have to maybe play EDG again. Obviously, JDG and top play tomorrow, and that will decide who goes to the loser bracket to play EDG to then play the winner of that again in the finals, right? So that is something to note. JDG beat LNG soundly, 3-0, absolutely smoked them, was not close. Only 3-0 of the LPL playoffs, I believe, of all 4 major regions right now playoffs, it's only 3-0. Just clean League of Legends, absolutely crushed them. And it was a struggle not to put them above Gen.g, honestly. But we'll see how Gen.g and JDG play in these ultimate matchups going down the stretch here against top and T1 respectively, as we get what is the equivalent of Worlds games now. These teams could easily play each other again at Worlds and quarters and things like that, and semis, and it's very feasible. Right now, I could see these three teams, Gen G, JDG, top. Those three teams, I think, are a step above. EDG, very close to top. T1, I think, are getting better down the stretch here, and that is very important. Then we look at the rest of the list. I think that all of these teams have problems. All these teams have problems that are keeping them from being up here. G2's problem is that they're from the West. Your limitations. Limitations with the hands diff. Now, when it comes to the other three, though, I think it's meta problems and just outright limitations, right? In the way your team is built. Damwon, LNG, RNG, clearly. Damwon's getting better right now, but will it be enough? I don't think so, right, as of right now. LNG and RNG clearly have problems. Then we look at the rest here, EG, MAD, TL. I think that it's probably to here. I would put PSG in this conversation of teams where I think that, you know, anybody could beat anybody at any given time. I really do think that. I do. I really do think that. I think it's a free-for-all there. And then after that, it's just kind of the rest. If you go to the Discord, you go to the extra contents channel, there will be the power rankings with the top 55 or 54 teams that are left. In there, you will see the top 25 and then the rest. 26 and beyond is based 100% off the algorithm, and a little bit of inferring from me, tiny bit, only for the teams that really haven't played, for some of them, going off of other teams, using stats, kind of trying to match them together and things like that. Take everything after 25th with a grain of salt. As we get down to the stretch here, as we start eliminating teams, playoffs are coming this weekend for all 4 major regions and for some key minor region matchups, so it'll be all interesting to watch. Discord link is in the description. Patreon link is in the Patreon. By the way, if you are on the Patreon's probably going to be ended. It'll probably be only a month, and I'm going to close it. I guess you're not allowed to talk about betting and gambling on Patreon. I see other people doing it. I don't know how they get away with it, but I'm not going to deal with that crap because it wasn't like overly successful anyways. I may do a YouTube membership thing where I do extra content, maybe posts on YouTube in relation to that, and people can join there, as well as joining for whatever else memberships can do. I haven't looked into it all that much yet, but that's something to look out for. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.